Okay, people, we are back for the second episode of le relancement of the Lingoholics Podcast. How do you say that in English? The restart, the relaunch of the Lingoholics Podcast. A little hard with the English these days. It's not really my principal language anymore. The reason there's been a long pause here is that I finally made the move to Montreal, and I've been able to set up a little corner here in my new condo where I have my desk, my workspace, and a little studio. I've set up a little studio for myself for working from home, and then also for recording these podcasts. So I was supposed to drop a podcast this weekend, but unfortunately, I had some technical issues, so I'm not gonna drop that podcast. I'm gonna re-record that podcast with a very special guest coming up very soon in French. However, this podcast right here will be in English. So the first podcast in English of the relaunch, and it's with one of the founding fathers of the Lingoholics Podcast, the legend, a true legend himself, Ian Regnier, aka El Profesor d'Alberta. I want to say that he doesn't need an introduction, but I still think we're gonna give him an introduction, or I'm gonna let himself give himself a little introduction. But basically, just to before handing it over to you, Ian, one of the founding fathers of the podcast that we started in 2020, I believe. And we made a bunch of episodes that are unfortunately not online anymore because SoundCloud costs too much money to keep up. So we've changed over to Spotify. Nevertheless, we did record quite a lot of podcasts before that are still, I think, on YouTube. Yeah, they're still on YouTube. They're still on the same YouTube channel. But nevertheless, the format has changed. Now I'm in charge, and we're doing one-on-one interviews or one-on-one language discussions. So Ian recently has been embarking on this Arabic journey, which is fascinating. And I think it's a great example of, because here on this rendition of the pod, I love talking about methods. And one method to maximize or boost motivation is to set a goal. Or setting a goal is very important for any language learning journey. So Ian has set a very fun goal that he set over a year ago, or around a year ago. He booked himself a trip to the Arab world, and he said, I'm going to learn Arabic. So
yeah, man, that's what's up.
so,
That's
so,
happening.
so he's learning Arabic. He's on this crazy Arabic journey. He's been going really hard recently.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about it today. But before we start
Yes.
about that, I know you're one of the founding fathers, but still, to the new listener, can you give like a quick spiel or just a
For
quick intro
sure.
for
Absolutely.
who you are?
Yes, man. Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much, man, for having me back. To be here on the Lingoholics podcast, which, man, it's crazy. We did 60 some episodes uh over, man, like I think like a 2-year span. Like I remember my old place in the town I live in. Like it was my old place where you guys were in the kitchen starting it off because we had the idea, hey man, let's start a podcast about languages, and we met a lot of cool people online, real life. We had our friends, we met friends, and then the podcast went dormant, people get busy, and like still am busy. And part of this Arabic that we're going to be talking about today contributed to that busyness. But I'm very, very excited, very happy that you've relaunched this, and to come be a guest on it again is pretty cool. So I'm going to try and live up. So just for my language life, I am a high school language teacher, Spanish and French. If there's ever a day I do get to speak teach more languages, that'd be amazing. But those two keep me pretty occupied. And then in my personal language learning journey, obviously those two that I teach. But then, man, there's a lot. Uh, Other ones, always behind the scenes, big ones in my life have been Ukrainian. That's part of my family heritage. German, which also is part of my family heritage, like to a lesser extent, but with our good friend Cody, the other co-founder of the Lingoholics, German. And then, from Spanish and French, there's, Portuguese, Italian. They're kind of always there. And I was always like the dabbler in our original crew, right? So always always felt free to flirt around with other languages. I know our other friend language come up would call that major language cheating, but it never bothered me with languages. So one of the ones that I always kind of a dabble language that originated for me was just the Arabic alphabet, which I'd probably been doing well into last year, and a bit prior, without knowing about this trip I was going to take, which is happening pretty soon. I'm leaving this Saturday with my girlfriend. We're going to Spain for a week, and then we're off to Egypt, which is the big Arabic country. So basically, with that dabbling, I've been doing a bit of like the Arabic alphabet, learn a little bit of phrases, and then my girlfriend and I were like, okay, we want to do a big trip together as a couple, and we landed on Spain and Egypt. So especially once I pressed purchase confirm on Expedia, it's been all systems go, man, because it's kind of like this race I just did with some friends. Like there's a date on the calendar, and you paid the money, you paid the entry fee, like you're going, and that date will go by, and so you have to do as much as you humanly possibly can um, to get ready. And as a language learner, it's felt like some pressure at times on myself because I want to like maximize my experience that I'm going to have in Egypt. And I'm really excited to talk about today, like what I've been trying to do to maximize with that on the calendar because it's coming up. And so we could talk about methods today, and then just also like the hype of Egypt or whichever. If you are planning a trip as a language learner, sometimes it might not even just be the language that really hooks you. Like Egypt itself is a fascinating country of like 5,000 years at least of history, with its ancient culture, and then specifically with my honing in on Egyptian Arabic, like the Arabic uh, world. And so Egypt is a massive part of that culturally, obviously 90 million people. And it's kind of gripped me into the wider Arabic speaking world, all the way from like Morocco to Saudi, Iraq. There's like, it's a big, big world. It kind of reminds me of learning Spanish. You're like, oh, there's not just like Spanish Nicaragua. It goes down to Bolivia, Argentina. Like it's a bigger world out there. So very excited to be on here today and chatting languages, and then yeah, bringing my experience with Arabic. I mean, I think it was settled in about December, November last year that we were going to do Egypt. So that's so I guess I'm on like an 8 month like journey of really, really hitting the grindstone with Arabic. So that's
So
my introduction.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. So before we get into like the nitty gritty of Arabic,
Of course.
I'd like to just talk or explore the topic of setting a goal. So me
Sure.
personally, I'm like a very goal oriented person. I think it's very important to have some type of objective to strive towards. And all this always like wake up and have that little anxiety in the back of your head, like, okay, I have that thing coming up. Like I have to like prepare for it. You know what I mean?
Of course.
I think most people are like that, and the people that don't say they're not like that, they just don't admit they're not like that. I just think
That
that
could
like
be true
everybody
too.
likes like a human nature. Like we need something like that to progress.
Yes. Yeah.
So
And
so
like objective.
for me, for example, like knowing that, I've been taking all these tests in French and
Hmm.
knowing that I was making this move, like that has always been in the back of my mind
Big
as like,
motivation.
well, it's been this like nagging little
Hmm.
anxiety in the back of my mind, and I've always like kept that, and I've been going back to that even like when I didn't want to do. I do my writing, I write every day, but even when I didn't want to do my writing, I was like, okay, I gotta get good. I gotta get as good as possible. I gotta get
Yeah,
as good as possible. And then, I went back and
definitely.
I did it even though I didn't want to do it. And it's the same thing for like training for a marathon.
Hmm.
Like I prepared my preparation for taking le DALF C1, so the French C1 test,
Hmm.
as running a marathon. That's how I prepared
Absolutely.
for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that if you can combine, if you can take like what you've learned from sports and like endurance training and apply it to languages, I think that is a match made in heaven.
It's a lot of crossover.
There's a lot
I
of
think so,
crossover.
man. A lot.
But this is a fun one. So what you're doing here,
It's very fun.
that's a very fun one. It's more fun than taking a test. Taking a test, you have to be a little
Yeah.
crazy to do that voluntarily.
No, I mean, but it's still like the impetus though, right? Like you with your move and then what preceded that with the test. And if I'm not mistaken, like you used part of that test for your new employment
Well,
as
I did, I did,
well.
I did. I put it on my CV
Yeah, of
as
course.
just a boost, something
Of
to
course,
show.
of course. Yeah, it's not
I don't
gonna
know if it
hurt.
helped or not. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't.
Maybe, who knows,
But
but
I also like had a person. I wanted to do it because I knew I was moving and I needed as
yeah,
much motivation as possible. So this was
right.
just one more thing to get me amped up about studying or progressing or whatever.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, okay. That was like my journey was a little bit more maybe anxiety inducing than what you're doing. You're doing is what you're doing is more fun. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
it is
like
a
that.
vacation, but yes. Yeah, it's not I don't I'm not moving to an Arabic speaking country.
Yeah, no, and of
Right,
course.
but it's
But
still
but
yeah.
but
There's many forms of goals.
so Arabic is fascinating. I've done a little bit of dabbling in Arabic. Duolingo's
Mhm.
modern standard
Modern
Arabic
standard Arabic.
program
Uh-huh.
is okay. I think it's mostly good for learning the script.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. For
and
sure.
and then I've done a little bit of Pimsleur, modern standard
Mhm.
Arabic, and then I've just done a little bit of dabbling in the different types
Of
of
course.
Arabic. But
Yeah.
before we start about like the nitty gritty like technical details,
Yeah.
do you mind telling us like where you're at currently, you think?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Like, okay. So since being, I only use the word, I only say like I'm a polyglot to people that are going to like understand that word. Like, I'm not going to go like down the street to my local gas station and be, oh, hey, like I'm a polyglot by chance. So, and what I mean to say like that is like, uh, when I say that to people that know what that means, it's like I feel like I am an experienced language learner who's had many trials and errors over a long, long time now, and some of those languages um, that I've done. So basically, Arabic. I don't even know what language it is that I've attempted. Like if you include my dabbles or don't include my dabbles, but so uh, I took just the approach that I'm okay. I'm starting a new language like I've done many a times, but this one I'm I'm really going on a trip with it. Like I've been working on German now for 6 years. I've never taken a trip to Germany, so like that one is just always like okay, working on it, working on it, working on it. But with this 8 month, it's been more intense. And where I am now, just from a feeling, like I've even this is kind of like an intuitive polyglot language learning feeling. As I would say right now, I'm like in the mid A1, with like surprises maybe of like high A1. And I can just merely in that sense that I'm getting from it now is say, just even with my, I've really been back on the italki train, which I think you inspired me a lot last year with you had your lesson counter. So it was 75, right?
75, yeah.
75 throughout the year. And so I can just, even just looking back, I have a shout out Amr in Alexandria, Egypt. He's been my tutor now for, what are we? We're close to 30 hours in together. So we've gotten to know each other pretty good. And I'm just thinking back, even reflecting on my first italki lessons with Amr, where it was basic. We were doing the script to the last, because I've been really intense leading up to this trip here. Like I'm doing like 2 hours a day with Amr until I step on that flight. And I'm like, so we always talked about this word like riffing with a guy in language, but just you're just kind of saying what you can. You're kind of pulling words. You're using familiar structures that you've been working on, and that's how the Arabic sessions have started off now. Whereas before, I would just kind of like Amr would ask me very basic things like, oh, what's new, how's the weather, how's work, like that was kind of it. Now we're like diving into more, not too depth. That's why I'm willing to say like I'm mid A1 here now, and a lot of time has gone into that. Like I really do believe those old scales of how much time it takes to learn a certain language, I do believe those are true, right? Whereas like some of the Romance languages, only so many hours. The Slavic, Semitic, um, Asian languages just takes more and more time, and I just feel like that is accurate. So I feel like I put in a lot of time, and it's starting to pay off now. And is that going back to that polyglot thing? I've just been trusting the process that I've learned over the years to not beat myself up, even though there is, like you said, that anxiety that you want to be like on it and keep going. So now it's fun with Amr because he's like speaking to me, and I'm able to just that random access memory. You just have more of it. That's when you know your language levels was going up. So I mean, I'd say mid A1. Time the trip is over, I'd be cool. It'd be really cool if I was like high A1, and then it's really been. And maybe we can get into this with a goal when you don't quite achieve your goal, but it's still you use what you have moving forward. Like even after this trip, I really plan. Just thinking of all the time and money too. It's been like material investment that I put into this Arabic project. I want to keep moving forward with it afterwards. So I'd say that's my long roundabout way to say that that's the level I'm at, but just like the perspective that I've been approaching it with Arabic this time around.
So what A1? You say A1. What does that mean
Yeah,
exactly? So
A1.
yeah.
Yeah, like there's many definitions. The European framework is still my favorite one. So what can you say with A1? It's a lot of your obviously your basic greetings, talking about some basic preferences, where you live. You know all your pronouns from like I, you, he, she, we, some basic verb conjugations. Although we can talk about if we want to talk about like hang-ups and certain parts of the language, like for example, when I was doing Ukrainian, it was the nouns and the cases really getting me. It's been the verbs that have been tough in Egyptian Arabic because it's just they a lot of them sound very really similar. Like maybe give some more like examples later. But A1, I mean, it's the basic stuff of your life,
So do you think
basically.
you can go in to like a restaurant and order
Oh
food?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
here
absolutely. Like
and
and it's
go
just
into a
simplest.
cafe and or get a
Yeah,
coffee and you
exactly.
know
Like things, there's the famous YouTube polyglotter like language simp, right? Like where does the language fit on the shock the local scale? I don't know. I'll be able to report back after the trip, but I'm hoping with those basic things like I'd like some tea with sugar, without sugar. How much does that cost? I'm really excited to negotiate a taxi drive in Egypt because they're apparently, they what do you call it? Like, they give you a high price, you lowball them, and you kind of meet in the middle. And there's that negotiation. That's all language, right? I'm
barter,
really looking forward
haggle.
to that. So the numbers in Arabic, I mean, I feel like in a lot of languages they're not always very intuitive, so it's taking a lot of repetition with the numbers. But yeah, a lot of like the day to day situations, like yeah, to say where I'm going, what time, like that goes back to numbers as well. Just being on the street, asking directions. So you obviously got to know like your directions and your prepositions with that. So I would say that all falls under the A1 umbrella as well. And so, we're doing a lot of tourist things, seeing the pyramids, doing a Nile cruise. So, anytime like, maybe it's like a security guard or a guy on the cruise ship, just, asking, oh, like, how are you? Where are you from? Who's in your family? Like, I think just the simple things, like the kind of like little social lubricants of our like pleasantries that we have in languages. I think I'll be able to knock those out of the park. Once you get in like that, that A2, A1 or B1, sorry, where things just get more complicated, you hear like you can tell it's like okay, I'm picking out words, but I'm off the tracks of where this conversation actually is. I'm not gonna worry about that really. It's gonna be okay. These are I feel like I've really mastered. Like I've done a lot of just repetition So I have that like really those basic things really cemented in my brain, like all the greetings, all the replies to how are you, and so that basic level I think I'm gonna rock. And when it gets a little too complicated, that's when I'm just gonna have to like, okay, you know what? I didn't get that far
Do you
so far.
can you read?
Yeah, Arabic. I'd be curious. I mean, I'm really interested now in what other Arabic learners' experience has been with the alphabet. It's definitely been the hardest text I've ever
So
approached.
here's my opinion, and I think you're gonna
Yeah.
share it because most people share this opinion. When you
Uh-huh.
do it on Duolingo, you have all the accents. It's pretty straightforward, I'd say.
Yes and no. Even with the accents, I'll have to push back a little eventually on the accents
It's
because I
not
think
like Cyrillic.
those.
Cyrillic is a walk in a park.
Oh, Cyrillic's beautiful. Actually,
Cyrillic's beautiful,
Cyrillic's
but
like, oh man.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But Arabic is harder, but it's not like with the accents, it's like, all right, it kind of makes sense, you know? I
yeah.
can kind of do
There's
this.
because okay, people got to remember there's no vowels really in there's some elongated vowels which are represented, but like shorter vowels eventually are just cut out. So, like, let's take a word like camel, gamel. So, what you're going to see in the Arabic script, you're going to see the GML. Okay, now, like you were talking about the accents, those are like little
The
vowel
vowels. Yeah,
indicators, right?
yeah,
So, you got the little nick up top, that's an A, the little nick down below, that's an I. Then it's like a little, kind of like looks like a ribbon almost,
yeah,
a little swirl, that's a U.
yeah.
And then basically, those are like kind of like the training wheels of the script, right? And
That's
then
it.
eventually they're going to take that away. Now,
Wait,
my pushback when they take that away is if you've really kept yourself familiar with the words, like basically what I'm saying is they are training wheels. You do eventually recognize the word and your brain isn't thinking about those little ticks. It's seen that structure of like the GML enough that you're like, oh, gamel, and you're just sounding it out without being like, "Oh, I didn't see the little tick. Therefore, like, is it an A? Is it an I?
yeah,
Is it a U?"
yeah. That's it.
So and then sometimes like on Duolingo, it's like there's so many little ticks, like sort of like up and down, and your brain is like, "Oh, I, A, U," like, and it's like just goes off the train track. So I would just say it's still like any language, like as long as you're kind of keeping the vocabulary in context, learning familiar words, not really. Because what Duolingo does, basically, if you just say you only went on Duolingo to do the alphabet, it'll show you the basics. You're gonna get those, and then it'll like really start mashing all those letters together, where you're not really learning words. You're just learning like fancy ways to put a bunch of the letters together, which I think like there comes a point with the Duolingo alphabet course, it is like counterproductive and not relevant to
Okay.
your language learning. Like it's putting combos of letters together you should be learning in the actual language. But it is great for just like the basics, knowing the basic consonants, which there are lots, and then the pronunciation of those does matter as well with those.
Okay, but do you, like how's your like do you think you're gonna be able to understand signs at the airport or
Yeah, it
random
gets
signs in the
me.
city?
Yeah, it's gonna be like there's gonna be three things that happen. Okay, one is like I will recognize the word from enough repetition. Be like, boom, I see that word. Like, let's say like shamal, north means north. So so it's like okay, I can picture all those letters there, like the sh, the l, the m, um, sorry, shm, the l, like shimal. Okay, so it's certain ones that okay, I'm gonna be familiar with. The second thing that's gonna happen with me, and this happens a lot in my lessons with Amr on italki, is I will hit a word, I will recognize the letter, but I won't the letters, but I won't recognize the word. And so it's just like it's a lot of like sight reading because you're like, oh, okay, like like the train wrecks I've had with Amr on some of my pronunciation, and sometimes I do get it right. Like that's the funny thing is like I feel like 8 months in I should be better with the amount that I've been seeing these letters, but Um, I just haven't still like I sound it mostly out, but like some of them, your brain is like, okay, is that an R? Is that a Z?
Yeah.
Like is that the doll or the tall? Like it's the little ones, and if your brain's not used to seeing it, then I find it takes effort to sound it out. So basically, it's going to be a slow reading, and I will eventually get it. And then the third one is like perhaps I'll be able to sound out the word and have like brilliant pronunciation, but not know what it means. So it's like it's kind of like with my Ukrainian, I can read the word in Ukrainian, but not know what it means, just because I can read Cyrillic, and that's so with Arabic, I'm hoping, just those basic street signs like "ahwa" for a
Yeah.
cafe,
Yeah.
"matam." So I'm hoping those like frequent ones, like I might be butchering the pronunciation, like "saidalia" is like a pharmacy, and so you seeing those, yeah, I'm gonna feel good. But then say like there's like like a tourist site, like long blocks, chunks of text, like telling you, like, oh, don't go this way, don't go that way. If it gets too complicated, I'm gonna
Okay.
block out.
So
So the simpler signs for sure.
your 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 oral expression is stronger than your written comprehension.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's been good. It's been a bit more with my tutor. It's been more textbook based than I'm usually used to. Kind of more of
Yeah, I want to get into
a
that.
flashcard guy. I like my Pimsleur. I like my Michelle Thomas. I like my YouTube. But the reading practice, you could theoretically, it's like any language, say like with Pimsleur, right? You're just listening. Like it's the same thing with Arabic. You could just listen to audio materials and learn the language. As much of it spoken as possible without like knowing how to read a thing. But I feel like with the Arabic language, any language really, you're doing a bit of a disservice if you don't do some reading. And just don't get me wrong, there has been times where I'm like, oh, this text is like slowing me down. Like, why don't I just focus on like the like kind of, because you can get like a romanized version of any Egyptian
Yeah.
word
Yeah.
and go from that. But it's like you putting that weighted vest on of really looking at the Arabic words and like hunkering down, and the thing is, like, going back to my like first option, which I hope happens the most, is like you do recognize words eventually. Like you're not sounding out the whole word. Like "lau samat" is a word which is like "excuse me." I've seen that so many times now in my Egyptian, because it's like all these dialogues in the textbook that Amr has me reading, and so I see that and like boom, um, I I have that. So it's I mean, it depends what you want to get out of the language. Like it's a fascinating like script, and actually with enough repetitions, it's an achievable. It's phonetic like Cyrillic. There's no like funky exceptions. Like that's the beautiful thing about learning the Arabic script is you can go to Morocco, you can go to Saudi and anywhere in between and be able to read. Now the dialects amongst those different, like the variety of Arabics is a whole other bag of fish. But just going, I think like I was texting you and Cody in our group chat one day, like I was just literally on Google Maps just reading like towns in Tunisia, because it's like, oh, like I'm and you're just practicing reading the words. So the script is uniform across the Arabic speaking world. And so
Yeah.
it's like vale la pena. I don't know, like it's worth it
Yeah.
to get into it. And again, it just takes time, like it'd be a bit different if this trip I was doing was like in another year's time, because then I could just kind of ease in. But it's felt like a little bit with this goal that we've had to do it this year. It's felt like a little bit of a rush at times where it's like, oh, okay, like I really want to get good at reading, but I want to really get good at speaking. And then I'm also
Right.
trying to like cover a lot of Egyptian history. So I feel like I'm
Right.
informed when I'm there. I'm not like oblivious to what's going on. But just from a language learning perspective, like the Arabic script, if you're into scripts, like there's that great series called Script Hacking by Judith Meyer. Like she's done the Hindi script, the Cyrillic script, the like Korean, I think like kanji. Like if you're just really into scripts, I feel like Arabic's one of them. It's in the top 10 for spoken languages.
And that is on what? Like Netflix or YouTube or something?
The script hacking.
Yeah,
I think that's a book series.
a book
If
series.
you're
Okay,
in
okay,
a if
okay,
you're
okay,
in
okay, okay, okay.
any big public library connection,
Got it.
I recommend those.
Got it.
If you're kind of a more textbook based person,
Okay.
because the thing about, just one last note on the Arabic script is like, the reason it's complicated and like different for like is the letter. There's basically four things you gotta remember. There's like an individual letter, and then it's also an initial, a middle, and an N. So for example, like the letter M by itself is a thing, but then if it's at the start of a word, it's different. If it's in the middle of the word, different at the end of the word. Like it does look kind of similar, but it's that shifting
Okay.
of the letters in the Arabic. That's what takes the time,
Yeah,
really.
you're right. It does. It looks different too.
It looks different. And to us, oh, by the
That's
way,
right. That's right. It
you're
looks. I
going
remember
right to
that now.
left. I guess I should have mentioned
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You go right to left,
You
and
go
then
right to left
the
like Hebrew.
letters actually change
Hmm.
symbols based on where they are. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. I
like
remember that.
salam, like hi, you know,
Assalamu
the
alaikum.
M, assalamu alaikum, that M's at the end. If you Masr is how you say Egypt in Egyptian Arabic. Like the M is gonna be a start and look different. And the thing is, like, they do eventually, you'll recognize the M's, you'll recognize certain letters. It's certain letters that get me. It's like the ta and the da, like there's like one dot that separates those, or the saw and the da. So it's like little letters that still agitate me
Interesting.
here and there. So it's worth, like, it takes the time. Like I'd argue for anyone that's done Korean, sort of similar. Like Korean, you learn the letters individually, but then eventually they start mashing together, and it's kind of like Tetris almost, how Korean does it. Whereas Arabic, it's just like the form changes throughout. And I don't know what the best way to recommend. You can learn like all the letters, like I said, those four forms, but it's more just seeing them combine. I think Duolingo, for the basic part, even with modern standard Arabic, whichever Arabic you're learning, you're gonna get used to those like those letters being in different locations,
Yeah.
really, in the word. And so it's a wrinkle in the language that any Latin script, even like when I was big into Turkish a few years ago, you don't have to worry about that in Turkish. Turkish is a Latin script,
Right. 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 Right.
right?
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
a difficult language and like subject, object, verb, but the script wise, oh, I'm just reading Latin here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The Roman
Okay.
alphabet.
Okay, buddy. Let's talk about methods.
Sure, man.
So let's go through the methods thoroughly. Start with where
Absolutely.
you started.
Yeah.
Tell us about. So you already mentioned Duolingo
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
limitations there, and then like the
Well,
pros and
we'll
cons.
we'll have to really get in.
And you've mentioned italki, so
Yeah.
you've taken these classes now 30 hours or something,
Yeah.
and he's taken you through a textbook, but just
Hmm.
do a quick recap of, actually just go through it thoroughly. Like, what have you done
Absolutely.
exactly?
Okay, I think the methods are related to the resources that I've been using. Like, so let's just start, say, okay, my classic, my kind of go-to, my default is like a flashcard style Anki. I'm a big proponent of Memrise. It's been my thing. And so let's, okay, I just want to tackle this from a big perspective because, okay, the good news at the end of this, if you are someone interested in Egyptian Arabic, there are a pile of resources. Like there's ones I know I haven't even got to yet, and I've gotten to a lot. But let's just start with like, okay, so a Memrise course that I built myself. I used, do you know the website Lonely Planet? That
Yep.
makes the
Yes.
travel guides. Well, they also do their language guides, right? So I came up with this idea. I don't know if it's bright or not, like, because some of it's not exactly all relevant that's in it. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the Lonely Planet phrase book and take all the phrases, all the words, and turn them into flashcards. Was my idea here for this one, to give me, like, because it's a little book, but it is if anyone knows about the Lonely Planet books, like they are dense. They have like they cover this all the situations, right? Like greetings, accommodations, transport, visiting the pyramids, negotiating a taxi. Like Lonely Planet's kind of got you covered for all the situations you might find yourself. So it's like, okay, am I gonna sit here and type all these out? No, it's 2026 now. AI is a thing. Shout out AI. So basically, so this first resource that I made, which is going to tie into my method of flashcards, spaced repetition, the classic things that a lot of language learners do. So I took a picture of each individual page of the Lonely Planet Egyptian Arabic guide. It's about 200 pages. And depending on the page, I'm going to say like 30 to 40 different phrases and or vocab list. And so basically, so I took the picture. I told AI, I'll have to tell you, I changed something first. So I initially said, okay, I want the English translation, then I want the Arabic script, and then in brackets around it, I want the pronunciation in Latin.
Yep.
So I did that. I did the entire book. It gave me something crazy like 3,000 items, which to this day I haven't covered all of those. If anyone's wondering, I've hammered a lot of certain ones, like a lot, just that I feel are more important. And it's just such a big course that my goal is to eventually practice it all. That's what spaced repetition is.
Purely nouns.
Well, in the phrases, right? It's like people have to kind of look at one of these guides to see. Sometimes they'll have like cultural ones where it's like, oh, sorry, I'm not comfortable participating in this. Like, it's a lot of it's nouns. It's probably 60-70% nouns, and then the 30% would be like your phrases, like how much is this, or my bed is dirty in my hotel room. Like you name it, right? They do take it in practice. And so basically, like, you just like a spaced repetition system. But then what I was finding is, because I had the English translation, the Arabic, and the pronunciation, is your brain gets lazy if it only, like, what I look at the translation, and then the Arabic would be there kind of just like as a backdrop, and then my brain would go to like lau samat, like, excuse me. I'd be not really reading the Arabic. I'd look more like at the ALW space SMAT, like the romanization.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I'm kind of getting lazy here because I'm not really reading the Arabic. I'm just kind of looking. And so what I ended up doing, it was laborious. I took that whole memorized course to 3,000 links. I moved everything over. I did the English translation with the romanization and left the Arabic script by itself. So then when the flashcard came up, it'd be like, excuse me, brackets, lau samat, like written romanized Latin form. And then I'd be like, okay, lau samat. Then it would force my brain to like look, because all of my options were now just in Arabic.
Yeah.
And then it was like, so the lau samat was like the training wheel, like the romanized form, right? Because it's like, oh, okay, but then my brain, when I was just focusing on it, was only in the Arabic and no other distractors. So I would say, even like if someone's doing a language in another script, if you so need it, some people are purists, they don't need the romanization and all that. To me, it's still like necessary when you're learning a new script. Like, you could say, like, if you're doing Korean, it could be like hello and then brackets annyeonghaseyo, if that's like romanized, and then the next one would be like just the Korean script. So it's really separated nicely, and your brain can just focus on that new script when it's looking for the answer. And that has helped a lot, because it's like I really have to sit down, look at the options, read them through, and I don't have like little romanization next to it. So that's just kind of been a flashcard trick. And then with spaced repetition, right, if you're getting them right, you're not going to see them for a while. If you're getting them wrong, they're going to be, it's like having like a bunch of emails in your inbox the next day. It's like, you need to cover these 40 words because you sucked at them yesterday, right? And so, and then again, going back to like my language learning experience, what words are relevant, and what's not. Like I don't know, like um it's like square kilometer versus hotel, right? When I'm in Egypt, hotel is going to be a more relevant word to me, right? So
Oh,
you get that innate feel of what's relevant and what's not relevant. You don't have to be a total empiricist trying to like collect all the words, right? There is a hierarchy of words, and that goes back to like, okay, I'm an A1 level. I should be learning words that are A1 relevant to me, right? This word up here it's too high of diction. I don't need that. So it started with, I'd say that. Now that's just been one of the tools. Just to revolve back to the other one is, so the tutor I find keeps you somewhat accountable.
So
Right?
wait, hold on. So
Yeah. You
you
can,
started with memorize, you did this,
yeah.
and then was the tutor the next step?
Yeah, definitely the tutor, because I'm not a big believer in getting a tutor from like scratch. I like
I
I
can agree with that. I can agree
right,
with that.
I feel like you're wasting money.
I can agree
You
with
know,
that.
like
Yeah.
you can, if you're kind of like familiar with language learning, you can take the onus on yourself to learn the script, learn some of the basic phrases, a lot of that A1 stuff. And then what I would say, why the Arabic tutor came in like a lot earlier for me was because of like the pronunciation of those words in reading. And like he's really helped me. It's a traditional style. He has like this 5-volume Egyptian Arabic textbook set, and we're just kind of working on volume 1. We're going through, and so, but I already knew a bit of the script beforehand, and like a handful of basic. I probably put in like 20 of my own hours, let's say, before getting a tutor.
Okay.
So depending on the language and your language learning experience, I think you know
20 hours memorize?
yeah, memorize, and then we can get into like now. So Pimsleur has a 30 lesson Egyptian Arabic course.
Oh, no way. Did you try that?
Dude, I was doing it today. I've been repeating. I've lost count of how many times I'm a huge repeater
Yeah,
in things,
sure.
right? So I've probably listened like lessons 1 through 20 like 5 to 7 times or
But
so.
you've done
Like
all of them. Yeah.
yeah. Then like I'm like, let's listen again. Let's listen again. Like repeat. I feel like that's part of my insecurity as a language learner. I just like, it's like, just repeat it, do it again, like just to make sure. Over learning, as Richard Simcott.
Do you feel like you've overlearned that Pimsleur course at this point?
Yeah, I feel like you've overlearned it when it's like it's the automaticity. It's like the Pimsleur voice comes on and they say like,
Yeah. So can
um,
you go through that entire, like all those 30 episodes now, and repeat like perfectly
one,
each
I'd say
sentence?
like 1 to 20, pretty solid. I'd probably shoot like an 80 to 90%. And then it's been the latter ones where I haven't listened to those quite as much, because I've been so preoccupied to really make sure I get like those first ones like bang on, right? Like, so I didn't listen 1 through 30. I listened to like 1 through 10 and then repeated again.
Yeah, I get it. I've
Like
done the
just to
same thing.
really, like
You,
it's like your foundation.
listening to you now, I'm I'm getting that like yearning to like start a new language. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Because it's
no,
fun,
man.
dude. It's fun.
It's
Because
fun.
you
It's a
see
new
progress
adventure.
so quickly. Like you progress so
Yes.
fast.
That's definitely like, you're not
It's
dealing
fun.
with intermediate plateau. You're not dealing with like kind of where I am, where I feel with my German right now. Like I was listening to an easy German podcast recently. It's like, man, have I improved the last 2 years? Like I'm understanding all of this, but like, am I understanding anything like
But
extra new? That's that intermediate wilderness.
so you know how like the graph goes up, like the curve goes up very
Oh
quickly in the
yeah.
beginning, and then the
Yeah,
plateau, and you know when it
totally.
starts going up again very
Yeah,
fast.
absolutely.
That's where I'm at right now.
That's you.
I don't
You're
really want to
French,
talk about
right?
that right here, but just
No,
like
no, no.
quickly,
But
like for
that
me
is
right now,
relevant.
like 100% immersion, it goes
Yeah,
fast again, dude.
it
It
goes
goes
fast.
fast. It
Yeah,
goes
you're just
fast.
picking it up, and
It but
I agree. there's a high with a new language.
It's fun, man.
Everything's
It's
new,
a lot of
man. Like,
fun.
you're learning the word for cheese again. You're learning the word for milk.
And then when you
It's all like,
realize that like
oh,
you can speak parts of the language, like especially you get that
yeah,
after like completing a Pimsleur course, you start
totally.
realizing that wow, like I can actually say like I can say
Oh,
stuff now.
yeah,
And
man.
like last month I couldn't, and now I can actually like communicate in this language. So that's cool, man.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you did the Pimsleur course. I'm a big Pimsleur guy.
Yeah,
Big
Pimsleur's
Pimsleur guy.
Pimsleur's great. I think, and it's also similar to my other one that I've been big on. Michelle Thomas has an
Similar.
Egypt similar as in, I think it's a bit more of like a Michelle Thomas, I think more of as like a logic puzzle. Like, because they try to tie in the phrases that they've been doing, and add the next one, and it is
Right. But
quite logical. Like, I really respect. I don't know when all those were recorded, some of those Michelle ones. Like, it's got to been years ago now. Like, I respect the, like, they really sat down and like drew out a map of like how they were going to teach the language. Like, they weren't like winging it on those recordings, right? It was like, okay, we're going to start this and it's going to make logical sense to go here to here. And it is interesting. They're with like 2 live students when they made those recordings
so
with Michelle Thomas. And then it is funny when like the lady, for example, in Egyptian Arabic, and then there's the guy, like, because Egyptian Arabic too, there's a big gender part too, so they kind of needed the guy. It is similar to Spanish, where and also, like, okay, so you need a guy and a girl for teaching Arabic, because how a girl says it and how a guy says it is different and thing. Like, especially like from like first person
yes, you're
art,
right.
right?
Yep, yep.
Like Ana Mabsut, I'm happy as a guy. Ana Mabsuta
Yeah, that's right.
as a
That's right.
girl. So if the male guy was always like Ana Mabsuta, trying to show you all the female examples, like,
Yeah, that's
be a
right.
little weird.
That's right.
But it is funny when, like, on Michelle Thomas, when like you get it right and the live student messes it up, right? That they
Yeah.
have in the
Yeah.
recording, so you can feel good about yourself with that. So Michelle Thomas. Okay, I have to give a shout out to this channel online. It's so our Lots of World podcast. I'm a high school teacher. My religion is comprehensible input. This one Egyptian YouTube channel. Okay, let me just make sure I'm giving a proper shout out to them. They knocked comprehensible input out of the park with this like set of 57, I think is what they're at, YouTube videos. It's all the zero translation. Okay, it's called Egyptic. So like Egypt, and then IC is the name of the YouTube channel. And dude, it is like the purest form of comprehensive input I've ever seen. And it's brilliant. Like, there's anyone from any language could go on that course and learn Egyptian Arabic. Like, there's no translation. It's just the images and how they like show the language in action with the images. Like, they use like lots of arrows and stuff to like really point out they're emphasizing. So like, for example,
Okay.
like, so let's just say, like, okay, there's a picture of a boy, like walad, like da walad, like this is a boy, and they show like a guy, like a man, like da ragel. And you don't have to. You could be a Chinese speaker and turn on those videos, and but basically what the definition of comprehensible input is just learning from the context, right? It's a picture of a boy and walad right there, and then it just builds. The 50 videos cover like, oh, so many brilliant things, like even
Hmm.
like prepositions. It just has like pictures, like a cup on top of a table. So it's like kubeya a la tarabesa, which is like the cup is on the table, and then
Hmm.
they show a picture of a cup under the table, like el kubeya tat el tarabesa. So you're really learning in context, and there's like 10 to 15-minute videos, and just incredible stuff. So I've just like, I get home, or I'll have like a late night. I've just been throwing that channel on, and you just watch, and it's just that like comprehensive input, like washing over you and giving you the reps, because like Pimsleur, Michelle Thomas, they're good, right? But it's still like that English like counterpart, right? It's like,
Yeah, that's
right? If you're a Chinese speaker that doesn't speak English, like no sirve, like Pimsleur's not going to work for you until you get like the Chinese one. But this YouTube series is brilliant. You just watch that. So shout out to those guys. They just really did great with that. Okay, so let's do a couple more here that I've done. Okay, AI, a bit with AI, just having it generate me incredibly basic Egyptian texts. Like I told it to write me A0, not even A1 text. So it would give me about 10 lines, and then also the transliterations. And so I made myself about 35 like mini readings, and I would repeat those because AI is very malleable, right? Depending on your prompt to how you would like it to shape the language for you, right? And so it was pretty good. And then, what else is there? Like, there's so much on YouTube. Oh, okay, this one's new. This one I really hadn't done with languages before. I think I mentioned it in our group chat a bit. And like clips, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Pick whichever one you like. I tend to just like Instagram, man. Like, I just type in Egyptian Arabic, and oh my god, dude, it's like an avalanche of and you name the language. I've played around with like, I just been like trying to be crazy to put like Lithuanian or like Swahili, whatever language, man. There are so many creators out there that I had no idea existed. And the algorithm is just like, oh, you want Egyptian Arabic? Here comes your Egyptian Arabic, man. And it varies from like really good stuff to like bad stuff. And then you just flick it, but then you can like save it. You can take notes from it, make flashcards from that. The Instagram rabbit hole, the clips rabbit hole for the language learning world is, oh man, I could literally spend like 4 hours just doom scrolling, but it's like good. It's like great scrolling.
I get it.
Right? Like
I love
it's
it. I love like
fascinating and
modern technology and what it's done to language learning.
oh man, like there's this one guy, he also has a learning Egyptian podcast, Issam I might be butchering his name. Issam Badri, and like, yeah, he's just like sitting in a restaurant, like, okay, this is what you like, El Hisab Kam, or he's showing you also some cultural stuff like in Egyptian. Okay, those listening right now, I'm like putting my hands in like a T. That's how you ask for the bill in Egypt. And it's like, oh man, like, okay, I'm learning a lot of cultural things with that. And there's like, I don't know, there's a handful maybe. They're like maybe like the cream of the crop that Instagram is putting out there as their their top guys. And then it's just funny. They're like, because somebody be like, all right, 10 phrases you need to know in Egyptian Arabic, and it's ones that like, yeah, probably slip through the cracks of your textbooks, your Pimsleur's, you're kind of a little more formal learning resources. It's that's like with you living in Quebec and in Montreal now, like there's gonna be a lot of like the slang, right? The things that just a modern textbook. I don't even blame the textbook, right? It's just kind of teaching you the more formalized version of the language, whereas these Instagram guys will be like, no, like this is how you say it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And man, there's just great content on there. And I mean, like YouTube too, right? Like YouTube, you scroll a bit, you can find a lot of channels, and specifically with Egyptian Arabic, there's no one can look me straight in the face and say like, no, there's not a lot of resources for that language, because there definitely is for Egyptian Arabic, and which is good because I feel like Arabic is daunting in the sense, like you had mentioned, you did some modern standard Arabic, right? Like, and that is a bit of the problem. If you go on Duolingo, that is what they will be teaching you, which it's a topic I've been meaning to delve into more myself, but it's not what's spoken in the countries.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what makes Arabic So I'm going to Egypt. That's why I'm learning. But then another upside, like our friend Abdu says, like, you know, with Egypt, they produce a lot of the culture in the Arabic world for music, films. So it is like, in terms of like bang for your buck, I am happy that I'm learning this Arabic, because the problem is, what I've heard is, like, modern standard Arabic actually, the jury's out for me right now. I don't, like, say you learn modern standard Arabic, I don't know if that's going to help you a ton actually with like learning one of the dialects. Structurally perhaps, but like vocab wise, and
Yeah.
like basically I heard one guy saying, like, on YouTube, he's like modern standard Arabic did not help me at all.
Yeah.
Like,
I've heard that too.
so it's, I mean, so with Arabic specifically, like, because, you know, on Pimsleur there's also Levantine Arabic, so like
Mention, yeah, like
Palestine, Syria,
Palestina.
right? And
I would learn of
then
Palestina.
Palestina, yeah,
I would
man.
go
And
for
then
Levention.
trust me, and then like it's, oh, dude, talk about like a dabbler's
No, honestly, I
temptation.
would go for Darija.
Darja, is that
Darja.
one?
That's the Moroccan one. I think it's
Is that
Darja.
okay? Yeah, yeah. I know. I don't know. So Maghreb, which I'd always heard, like, when I was an international relations student, like referring. That's just Maghreb is how you say Morocco.
No,
In
Maghreb, les Maghrébins, say that's like Morocco and
yeah,
Algeria
the
and
region, right?
Tunisia,
That like
Northern Africa.
Northern Africa. Yeah. So I mean, again, it's like any language. What's enticing you? What's your incentive to learn it? Like, after this trip, I do plan to do a little bit of modern standard Arabic.
Really?
Just
Why?
it is interesting to contrast it. Let's say, like, take a news channel like Al Jazeera, take any news, like, formal media in the Arabic speaking world, sorry. That's what they are speaking. Like, I was trying to explain this to a friend the other day. It'd be like, imagine we're here in Canada, you're watching the CBC, and it's like a total, not totally different, but it's quite different, let's say. Language that just him and I are talking as we're sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Like the register. And so there are a lot of modern standard Arabic resources as well. It's just they say if you just start speaking that in like the streets of Cairo, you're gonna sound like you're from like a time traveler from centuries ago, is basically like, I believe, like, for example, like Nam is how you say yes in modern standard Arabic, but in Egyptian Arabic everyone says like Iowa or ah.
Huh.
So like it's little differences like that. So, and then I would also love to do another dialect to compare
Okay.
like how different they are. So like Levantine, Palestina, um, like Moroccan, some of the Egyptian, that Islam Bowdri on Instagram, he's like, one of his videos, he's hanging out with like a Moroccan guy. Like, how do you say this in Egyptian Arabic? And he says it, and then the other guy from Morocco says the same thing in Moroccan Arabic, and it is so different. It is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
different language. So I'm really curious, this term we say Arabic, as someone ignorant, like an Arabic speaker right now might be like, oh, like, of course it's similar, or like this is what's different about it. Like I as an outsider, I don't quite know. And so it'd be like, you know, in Spanish, sort of similar. You know, we got Puerto Rican Spanish, Chilean, you know, some of the dialects like southern Spain. You know, I'd be curious, but at the end of the day, I don't, like, you know, its accent, its pronunciation a bit. Like with Arabic, it's like full on just different words and partially structures too. So I'm really, after this trip, I'm really out to see, like, is Arabic just this umbrella term really, and how much validity is it to like connecting, you know, what's spoken in Morocco to what's spoken in Iraq or Jordan or Palestine, right? So that's for post trip investigations. So it's the Arabic world's complicated, and in that complication, pretty
I get it.
fascinating from a language learning perspective.
Absolutely.
Because, honestly, you might be learning, if you're like, okay, I'm going to learn every country's Arabic, you might be looking at like 7 different languages.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's some of the like Norwegian, Swedish, pretty similar.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't know if that's the case, say, even like Libyan compared to Egyptian Arabic. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So it's for the language learning Sherlock Holmeses out there. It's a fascinating one to go down.
Yeah, it's definitely
Absolutely.
one of the beasts
Oh, it's a beast.
in the
It's an
language learning
absolute
game.
beast.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because
There's
it's
like there's like Mandarin, that's a beast.
that's a beast.
It's
For sure.
Arabic, that's a beast, and then there's
Arabic.
like
I'd say Japanese. I put
Russian.
Japanese.
Russian has to be a beast.
Yeah. I mean, like, just thinking about, you show up at like a language learning, like a polyglot conference gathering,
But
like,
I'd say
yeah,
I'd
they're
say
beasts.
I'd say that Arabic might be the beast, like the boss, because like
The boss.
you meet like Westerners
Yeah,
that learn Mandarin. Like I can think of several people off the top of my head that have learned
yeah,
Mandarin to a very high level. I can think of
right.
several people off the top of my head that have learned Russian to a very high
Yeah,
level. I can think
uh-huh.
of several people off the top of my head that have learned Korean and
Yeah.
Japanese to a very high level as like Westerners. But I cannot think of a single person that speaks like really good Arabic
Right. Yeah, like that high level, like,
as
hitting the
yeah, no, I've
streets.
never
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it might be less common for sure. Like, we're both, I'm a big fanboy of Language Simp. I think I need to go back and look at a little bit of his Arabic stuff. I think it's the Egyptian dialect, but even with him, he's not like, like
I
full
don't
on in the
yeah,
streets
I don't think he's that
talking, right?
developed. I've heard him say that his Arabic is not the best.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I know he loves the language, and
I know
he's
he
like
loves it, and
super into it.
he does it very well. Like he does
Yeah,
the
the
role playing or
letters and the
whatever, like the
accents.
phrases that he does that he's
Mm-hmm.
memorized. He does them very well, but I don't think his. I think he's mentioned this himself. I don't think his Arabic level
Yeah.
is very high. But
Yeah, you're right.
nevertheless, I've never met anyone that's like C1 or C2. I've never even
Right.
seen anyone that's C1 or C2 in Arabic.
Because it kind of goes back to, like, like I was saying about, like, with the dialects, say someone, like, they really dominate, like, Egyptian Arabic. You could be a total noob, like, in modern standard Arabic, right? Like,
Yeah,
and say you're like, oh, you're really good at, like, the Maghreb Arabic. Like, well, how are you going to judge someone's Egyptian Arabic when it's like, it's essentially 2 different languages? Like, it's
yeah,
very different, right? So I think it's that disparity, because, yeah, you're right. There's so many, even like famous polyglotters, like, they've done Mandarin, Matt versus Japan.
yeah.
When native speakers can't see him, they think they're speaking to, like, a native Japanese
That's
person,
right. That's right.
right? Where I would love to see if I found a few, like, non-native speakers on Instagram, because I always think they have a really valuable perspective to a
Yeah,
language. It's me as a Spanish and French
I
teacher. I'm
agree.
not a native speaker, right? Like, I think that's always interesting. But yeah, in terms of the boss level status of Arabic, I've tried not to think about it that way, to be honest. Like, I just been like, okay, I'm going, 'cause my girlfriend and I, we were talking about, she loves Africa. So we were talking about, like, Kenya maybe. So then just everything would have been like full bore on, like, Swahili, or, not even it was an idea, but, like, say we're going to Indonesia, right? Like, oh yeah, like, going full bore on Indonesia. Just, this is the country we chose. This is, like, really what I've honed in on. But it is interesting in that language learning community where Arabic has that reputation of just, like, difficulty. And I know Steve Kaufman, I've watched a little bit about his thoughts on Arabic, and from my understanding, and maybe I'll have this perspective when I get to a higher level, I guess there's just, like, so many words with Arabic, like, just, like, so many extra, like, different adjectives that other languages. I think just some of the volume of Arabic is what some
Yeah,
people find overwhelming. I'm a little too much in my infancy of my Arabic journey to
yeah,
comment authoritatively, but I have to say it's a fun language, especially it's been interesting from a Latin, like a Romance language perspective. Like it's like it's what I wish Spanish would do with its feminines. Anything that ends with A is feminine. I've found like one exception, maybe. Like
Okay.
it's pretty straightforward in that regard.
Nice.
Like mabsuta, kwayisa, anything that ends with an A, it's feminine. Like, you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
exceptions, really. So that's nice. And then like some basic prepositions. It's the verb forms have a very Slavic. Well, sort of like there's like the present progressive verb form, and then your simple present. So that when someone's not really pointing that out to you, and like Pimsleur, for example, they're just using a lot of like present simple, whereas Michelle Thomas is using like present progressive, right? Whereas like so in Michelle Thomas, they're using the word like yeah, which is like I am coming,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like in Pimsleur, they're using more of like a present simple, like oh I come here, something that happens frequently. So it's if your grammar radar isn't exactly like tuned in, you might not know like exactly what they're saying, and that comes with time. But honestly though, like what I'm trying to say with this boss level thing is I don't think it's quite as intimidating as some people might think. Like I maybe when I get to a higher level, I'll change my thought on that. But I think to learn A1 Egyptian Arabic is not the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Like I thought a Slavic language was way more difficult.
I don't know. Maybe it's
Thing.
just like the
I think
perception
it's
of it.
the allure and the perception
There's a
for sure.
perception of it.
Man.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, dude.
yeah.
Look, I kind of want to try to keep this podcast
No,
close to an hour, but like
absolutely, man.
before wrapping this thing up,
Yeah,
could you give us a couple sentences? Can you give
sure.
us something?
What do we want? Okay, so I sent a voicemail to our friend Abdu, who who does now like be like it's Abdu. Like there is a difference between and ah. So if you are for anyone like learning the Egyptian Arabic, think of that word we say like awe, like you're in awe. It's an amazing thing, like that back of your throat. It's how you do a lot of letters. But okay, let's say some things. Akhlan was akhlan, probably your most classic greeting. You could say salam, akhlan, nice hi. Okay, let's go sabah el khair. I might be butchering that. Sabah el khair is good morning. And you wouldn't say sabah el khair back to me. You would say sabah in nur. Sabah in nur. So sabah el khair, I think is like the morning is good. And you would say sabah in nur, which is like the morning of the light. And there's actually lots of like flowery ways to say like sabah el ful, sabah el ward, sabah el. There's one like it means like the morning of the honey. So like it's like a lot of these greetings actually. There's like it's like spicy buenos dias.
Yeah,
Let's say.
yeah, that's a good way. But do like speak for like I don't know, like 30
Oh,
seconds or something, and then
sure.
do
Okay,
it
sorry.
first, and then tell us what you said.
Oh, okay. أهلا وسهلا. اسمي إيان. أنا من كندا. أنا مدرس. أنا عندي شغل في مدرسة هنا في كندا. أنا ساكن في كندا كمان. دلوقتي أنا مبسوط قوي عشان أنا هنا مع صاحبتي اسمه ماركس في Lingoholics Podcast. شكرا جزيلا. مع السلامة.
Masalama.
there. Okay, a little breakdown.
Yeah, just give us a
أهلا
breakdown.
وسهلا. Hello again. Anna Min, Canada. Wherever you're from, I am from. Like Anna Min,
I'm the Swedish.
Landa, Anna, yeah, Sudi. There's Anna Min. There's a really funky way how to say French too, François or butchered that a bit. Ismi, my name is kind of like me llamo in Spanish, or je m'appelle. Ismi Ana, I use my profession there, Ana Mudarris. So it is like Slavic languages. You don't have to worry about the to be verb. It's like Ana Mudarris, I'm a teacher, which is nice. I teacher. What else was I saying there? Ana Mabsut is an emotion. I'm happy. Alashan, a nice little conjunction phrase there. Because. Ana China. Hina here, hinak there. Like some nice simple things, like some nice little. You have to remember totally different words. So ana hina fi, ma the is with a conjunction or a preposition. Conjunction, like I'm with Marcus here, fi Lingoholics Podcast. So I feel like it's one of those languages. Once you get some of those prepositions going, and some of those conjunctions, like those are like real like connecting pieces of the language, then you can kind of get a flow, like a little bit of a riff, like I was just doing there. And then okay, this last thing, like, so with those riffing, what a tutor will do eventually, which Amar's been doing with me, is like we just like make those. You probably did this a lot with your French, right? You just make a list of like words that have come up in your conversation, and then I don't know if you ever did anything like that.
Not really. Not really.
Okay.
We can talk about that later, but I didn't. Mine was
Yes.
very informal, deliberately so.
Okay. So yeah, man, there's a lot. Okay, just some parting words, like Egypt's a fascinating place for anyone interested. There's a whole, we didn't even really scratch on it today, like the land of the hieroglyphs that were discovered from the Rosetta Stone in 1822. They remained a mystery for a long, long time. There's actually a huge Greek history. So there's kind of like a fusion of ancient Greek on top of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. And then obviously like is the Arab conquest in the 8th century, I want to say. The Arabics come along. So it's a land of many languages and many histories. So I'm very happy, man, that this podcast is up and running. And I think I might have a more just anecdotal chat. I have more anecdotes, obviously, after the trip. So if you're open to doing a part 2 of this,
we're gonna do a part 2. We're gonna do
then
a part 2 when you come
I can
back.
get on the other side. On the other side.
So you're leaving on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then how many days in Egypt?
It's gonna be about 15 days in Egypt. We're seeing a lot of the country. We're doing
That's big. That's huge.
The big highlights, the big the kind of things. You know, there's some people say like, oh, if you haven't been to a like in Honduras, I didn't go to these one ruins, and the host family dad said, oh, if you haven't been to those ruins, you haven't been to Honduras. So we're trying to like really knock out like the essentials of like people say, oh, okay, you've been to Egypt because you've been here. So
what's the geographic itinerary in Egypt? So it's Cairo.
Yeah. So we're going. Someone pull out their Google Maps here. We're going Cairo, flying down to Aswan. We're taking a Nile cruise up to Luxor. So all three of those pretty big. Flying back to Cairo. We're doing a little day trip in the desert. We're going to go see some 40-million-year-old whale bones. Then we're flying to what I've been calling, I've been calling it the Cancun of Egypt. It's called Sharm el Sheikh.
Yeah.
In southern Sinai. And then we're going to go back to Cairo. It's a lot of domestic flights, and it's a lot of like logistics. Nice. So I'll get to know these airports well. And then we're going to take a train. The last 2 days are up to Alexandria, which is another historic city founded by none other than Alexander the Great, hence its namesake. And then back to Cairo, fly back, 14-hour layover in Turkey. So we'll see what can happen within that time.
Istanbul.
And it should be a trip of a lifetime. It's been quite a while. It's been 9 years since I've been to Europe and never stepped foot in Africa or any part in the Arab Muslim majority world.
Yeah,
so very excited, a little like nervous, but also like, use my travel experience to bring it on.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, but that sounds like, yes, we'll definitely do a part 2 when you come back.
I'll have like a lot of new perspectives and seeing what it'll go back to, like, okay, I got my language level to this. What was I able to accomplish? It's kind of back in the day when we did my Ukrainian episode. Like my Ukrainian wasn't perfect back then either, and I was still able to do bunch of stuff. So it'll be similar to that. See what I can pull off in Egypt. But no, man, very happy the podcast is going again. It's a thrill to be like a guest on it. And
Cool.
I know I'm a bit of a rambler when it comes to languages, but
We all are, buddy. That's why we're
dude,
here. That's
it's
why
the
we're here.
thing. It's the greatest thing.
A bunch of guests coming up. I got a bunch of
Dude,
lists. I
very
got like a
excited.
list of people that I want to take on, so that's gonna happen. Now I'm set up in Montreal. I
Amazing.
got my studio. I got my
Yeah, man,
everything
you're
set up,
set.
so I'm ready to go. So I'm gonna
Beautiful.
try to get this pod up and running live soon, as soon as possible. Tomorrow probably, and
Beautiful.
then yeah, cool. All right,
Awesome,
we're gonna
man.
end it right there. So thank you everybody if you made it all the way here, and yeah, we'll be back for part 2.
All right.